A new Riverside skyscraper district, but where is it and when did I take that photo? What's happening with One Heritage Tower? When did all the development begin? And what about this derelict structure? What's the connection between this New York subway station and this building in Salford? I found an interesting similarity between these old and new steps. A new skyscraper district taking shape, slowly. We're going to take a look at some of the construction projects planned, stalled, completed, in progress and awaiting restoration in case of one. All over here in the Greengate district, just down here. That's the River Irwell, and in front of us is the tower that was abandoned when developer Elliott went bust a few years ago. It was taken over by a new developer and is nearing completion, but there's still a fair amount of work to do. Looking along the river with the old post office on the left, converted into apartments, the railway bridges and the railway line from Victoria crossing the river into Salford. And let's compare it with my photograph and we can see how the skyline has changed. In the middle, of course, is the Urbis Centre with its sloping roof and lightning conductor. On the right is the Lighthouse, that's the Apart Hotel on Church Street, not far from Piccadilly Gardens. On the left is the Glassworks Hybrid Workspace Tower on the northern edge of the Northern Quarter, a project by Solboy. But if we look at the old photograph, we see those buildings are not there. And additionally, there is one building that is there. So in what year did I take this photograph, and what is that building that's now gone? I'll tell you later. Here on the right is the site of the proposed One Heritage Tower, and we can see there's some preparation work going on the site, but nothing has commenced yet. Designed by OMI Architects, 55 floors, 545 apartments, 173 metres or 567 feet. What's happening with the tower? I don't know, but I'll keep my ear to the ground. And if anybody has any information, please post a comment. On the other side of the street is the Greengate residential development. That's Greengate, all one word, but with a capital G in gate, with its distinctive waterfall near the entrance. Over to the right is the Greengate 24-hour car park. Greengate is written as all one word and is the name of this unique district whose history stretches back into the Middle Ages and before. Where Greengate meets Gravel Lane was once the location of the town market. It became an area of poverty and slum dwellings in the 19th century. About 20 years ago, this entire area was used mostly for surface car parks. Here's the view from the CAS tower I took before new construction began in the area in the second half of the 2000s. Abito is the apartment building from an earlier time frame with lower building heights long before the current two buildings on the right, the tall and shorter residential buildings of Embankment Exchange. We can see the names Legacy Developments and RW Invest, who took over the project and renamed it Embankment Exchange. The visualizations on the boards paint a picture of an impressive development as seen here from the inner ring road. Next door is the Anaconda Cut building, also designed by OMI Architects and completed in 2018. Opposite are the remains of the former Waterloo pub, which I expect will be renovated. That will make an interesting addition to the area, a relic of the old amongst the new. And now we're going to take a look at the site of the recently approved co-living towers, the first to be approved in the city of Salford. The project is called Enclave and it's by developers Progressive Living, Architects BDP. The towers will be 42 and 39 stories. Today, the site is a surface car park, right next to the river. As part of the plans, the railway arches on the edge of the site will be renovated, bringing new businesses into them. Some arches are currently used as extra parking space. Those arches are quite substantial because they extend across the full width of the railway viaduct. The earlier part when it was first built in the 1840s, and then the later one constructed in the latter part of the 19th century. From the car park, looking over the ruined wall, we have a striking view across the river towards the former post office building, with its distinctive red brick architecture. Rising up beyond are Tempus on the left and the New Victoria development, currently under construction, on the right. What I find striking here is the combination of ultra-modern contemporary towers with the decaying remnants of the industrial past. You might think that they would just clear away the old to provide a fresh, empty canvas for the new, but that's not how it works. The transformation is gradual and piecemeal. This is a work in progress. That work seems to be extending out over decades. But that's what the timescales are like in urban development. These arches further along the viaduct on Norton Street are also going to be refurbished for restaurant, bar, retail and gym use. We can see here a juxtaposition of different modern building styles, as well as clues pointing to an earlier, more ramshackle age, when security on perimeter walls was enhanced by bits of broken glass stuck into the mortar. Abito is a distinctive building, designed by BDP and completed in 2010. It still looks good with its curved sides, balconies and patterns. And right here in the centre of the ancient Greengate district, this old postbox from the reign of King Edward VII, so it dates from the 1900s. What did this area look like then? This plan gives us a good overview of the Colliers Yard district. Abito is in the lower right, to the left Courtland Tower, Colliers Yard, looking onto Gravel Lane, and between them the boulevard extends further up, and on the right is Bankside, which is just about to be completed, and on the left Parkside, which hasn't commenced construction yet. Queen Street is on the left, and just beyond that is Greengate Park. We'll have a look at that later. At the base of Courtland, another visualisation showing the views now enjoyed by residents. The building was named Courtland after the American company called Courtland who bought it. The view from the windows could almost be an American city. And again, I'd like to highlight this old industrial building, which I always found a very striking relic of the early post-war period. The name Greengate de Nerwell 1950 brings back memories of the grey, smoke-ridden 50s. I thought it would make a great loft-style residence. It was demolished to make way for these new tall buildings. But it looks to me like the architects have taken elements of the old building and incorporated that industrial design into the new building, which I think is really good. Courtland was designed by OMI architects, with Denton Corker Marshall as the delivery architects. But some might ask, couldn't they have kept the old building? Well, I'd be interested to hear the views of an architect on that matter. The name Courtland reminds me of World Trade Center Courtland, a station on the IRT Broadway 7th Avenue line of the New York City subway in the financial district of Manhattan. But that's spelt Courtland L-A-N-D-T, even without the D. I like the name Courtland, and I like the signage, looks very classy. We are looking along the avenue, and beneath that scaffolding is Collier Street Baths. Here's my photo that I took a few years ago. It stood empty and derelict for many years. I remember one time visiting with Peter from the Manchester Civic Society. On the right, behind the fencing, is Bankside. And for the record, Courtland is 153 metres or 500 feet tall, 50 stories. This year, the tallest tower in the city of Salford and the 7th tallest building in Greater Manchester. Bankside is 43 stories, 129 metres or 423 feet. Figures from Wikipedia. Parkside will be 41 stories, some sources say 42. And according to Skyscraper City, it will be 123 metres or 406 feet tall. It can be quite challenging to find data about buildings. The developers, and of course this whole project was developed by Renaker, same as Deansgate Square, the developers also created a new park, Greengate Park, as part of Colliers Yard M3, that's the full name. Here are the opening times. It somehow looks a little empty. There are no people apart from myself today. There's plenty of history around here, as the information board informs us. Christchurch King Street once stood on this site, and so in one shot we go from the 19th century to the 21st century. Across the railway, on the site of Exchange Station, Affinity Living Apartments face onto Manchester city centre, and there's a passing freight train heading through Victoria Station. The modern staircase leading up to Greengate Park reminds me of an older staircase dating from the 19th century or before. Do you recognise where it is? It's leading up to the former Angel Meadow Park, also known as St Michael's Flags, about a 15-minute walk from here. In one wide-angle shot we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tall buildings, with more to come. Let me dig out this old photograph I took from the studios used by artist Liam Spencer on Blackfriars Street, which I visited before any of these buildings were constructed. And there's a view over to the left with the old Greengate and Irwell building visible. A very different scene to today. And the view today is blocked by new apartments. Another historical information board tells us about William Cowherd, the eminent clergyman and social reformer who founded the church that stood here. I think it's very good when developers incorporate the history of a location. On the Trinity Way side of the Colliers Yard construction site, we can see some of the visualizations. This one is looking back along the boulevard where we were earlier, with the restored Collier Street baths. And standing just next to Colliers Yard is 55, that's 55 Queen Street, a development by Solboy offering modern city centre living. It was completed in 2022 and designed by John Matthews Architects. Here's another interesting heritage building, and we can see how John Matthews designed an old-fashioned sloping roof in the new building to recall the old ones. And here, right in the midst of all this development, is a very welcome watering hole. It's the Eagle Inn. The pub has remained open during all the construction work, and I'm sure it has a glowing future in front of it with all these new residents all around. Collier Street Baths is covered in scaffolding and undergoing renovation. So how is this area going to look when construction is complete? Keep watching AidanEyewitness. Well, actually, this CGI image indicates how it will look when complete. We can see the fully restored Collier Street Baths with the uptown residential blocks across Trinity Way straight ahead. The boards state Collier Square, creation of a new public square, reframing Collier Street Baths, and Greengate Park, creation of over half an acre of new public green space. And there's Greengate Park in the visualization. It looks a lot livelier than when I visited earlier. They should also do visualizations in cloudy and rainy weather as well. Actually, I was hoping for sunny weather for this shoot, but time waits for no YouTuber. Manchester and Salford get plenty of sunny weather, but not necessarily when I'm out and about. Colliers Yard M3 is the name of the new district. And so we're back near where we started and heading out of the area under the former exchange station, which has completely disappeared. Let's now finally have another look at that old photograph, and I can reveal that it was taken on the 20th of October 1997. The building visible just on the Manchester side of the Irwell was the Palatine building, which was part of Cheetham School. I did my piano A-level practical exam in that building, a frightening experience. The school decided to demolish the building. I thought it was quite unique, but at least we can now see the medieval hall housing Cheetham's library. I hope you found the video interesting. If so, please like, subscribe, share and comment. To support what I'm doing, you can buy me a coffee, link below. And many thanks to everyone for helping me to reach 5,000 subscribers. It happened yesterday evening, Sunday the 3rd of November, 2024. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und auf Wiedersehen in Salford.